All right, let's talk about something that, affects pretty much every single one of us, but it's often the very last thing we actually bring up, our well-being at work. And it turns out it's way more important and, honestly, way more costly than most of us ever realize.
No, seriously, I want you to just think about that for a second. I don't mean the quick, how are you say in the hallway while you're walking to get coffee. I mean a genuine, stop what you're doing, look them in the eye, and actually listen for the answer kind of question. It's such a simple thing, right? But it's something we almost never do.
And that's because this is what's really happening just under the surface. We've all gotten so good at creating that perfect professional image. You see it all the time. The project wins, the promotions, the calendars that look like a game of Tetris. But what we don't see is the burnout, the anxiety, the stress that's just simmering out of sight.
But here's the thing. This isn't just a personal problem, an individual issue. This quiet struggle, when you multiply it by millions and millions of us, adds up to a staggering global cost.
Just take a look at this number. That's $1 trillion. A 1 with 12 zeros after it. I mean, it's a number so big it almost feels fake. But what does it actually represent?
Well, this isn't some made-up figure for a spreadsheet. According to the World Health Organization, that number, that is the direct annual cost of lost productivity, all from depression and anxiety in the global workforce. And that's every single year.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Of course, $1 trillion is a business problem, but that's just a symptom. It's a symptom of a much, much deeper human problem that's happening right now, inside our own teams, with the very people we work with every day.
Okay, so that number can feel completely overwhelming. I get it, but the situation is not hopeless. Actually, the solutions are surprisingly straightforward. It all comes down to one thing: intentionally building a culture of support.
And that culture shift can start with something so simple, just changing the questions we ask. At work, we're all wired to be transactional, right? We focus on the task. Is that report done? But just tweaking that question to focus on the person, hey, how are you holding up with that report? That's an incredibly powerful first step.
So how do we make that a habit, not just a one-off thing? Well, here are 3 really concrete ways anyone, and I mean anyone, from the CEO to the brand new intern, can start building that better culture today.
First up, we have to normalize check-ins. This means you got to make time for it. Imagine if the first 3 minutes of every single team meeting were a strict no work talk zone. It's just for a genuine, how is everyone really doing? You go around the table. That simple act signals that the health of the people on the team is just as important as the health of the project.
Second, you have to model boundaries. And listen, this one is non-negotiable, especially for leaders. Your actions are so much louder than any company wellness poster. When you're firing off emails at midnight, you're not showing your dedication. You're creating this unspoken rule that everyone has to be available 24/7. Respecting your own time off is the clearest signal you can send to give your team permission to do the same.
And third, you have to invest in real resources. And I'm not just talking about a free yoga class or a subscription to a meditation app. I mean tangible support. Things like a no-questions-asked mental health day policy, or making sure your company's health plan has a super simple, confidential way to find a therapist. These are the kinds of investments that prove a company actually means it when they say they care about well-being.
Look, let's be realistic. The goal isn't to eliminate stress. That's impossible. The real goal is to build a culture that can handle it. An environment where people feel safe enough to say I'm not okay, supported enough to ask for help, and seen as a whole person, not just a job title. So, we've looked at the problem and we've walked through the solution. Now, how do we actually make this real? Well, it all starts with one small personal action. So here it is. This is the challenge for every single one of us. It's simple, it's direct, and you can do it today. Before your workday ends, find one person you work with and just ask them how they're doing. Not about a project, about them.
Because that one conversation, it's a building block. It's this tiny act of defiance against that culture of silence. It's how we start to get to a place where talking about our mental health at work feels just as normal, just as necessary as talking about quarterly results.
So I'll just leave you with that one question. Who will you check in with? Seriously, think of their name right now. Because that one small human conversation, that is how we begin to solve a $1 trillion problem.